Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about a line which you get in a type of King's Indian setup where your opponent has gone for thinking that he will get a Queen's Gambit structure and he plays the King's Indian, but it ends up just being the London system. In more detail, like I'll show you to you in detail. So it goes with d4, knight f6, knight f3, g6. Players who play g6 are temporarily think that I'm going to play c5, and they don't want to play d5, thinking it's the London because they feel like if it's not the London, they're going to get out of their opening prep. I've talked about this tricky line. They played g6, thinking that the it's not going to be a London, but then after I play bishop f4, now they realize this position is a London system, and now they can't go back to their they can't play. They don't want to play the proper uh, King's Indian structure. So then they try to fix their position by playing d4. But they've already kind of messed up because now this g6 pawn is played. Well, this usually bishop is here or here. Now it has to go here because now you have a hole in the position. Because if you don't develop it here or here, I eventually get bishop at 6. And now I have some annoying threats with my bishop, and it's kind of getting into the position. So then as white, you just simply play e3, bishop g7. It's kind of like a forced move. Bishop d3, castles, knight bg2, bishop g4, c3, just basic stuff, build the bridge, have the knight. It's a structure you get everywhere. It's very hard for black to break it. c5. c5 just the motive that black, okay, you're not going to play c4 anytime soon, I will play c5. Queen comes to c2, knight c6, castles, e3, e6, just solidifying the structure. Nothing different here. Rook f e1. Rook f e1 looks like it's unnecessary now. But as the London, if black really wants anything in the position, black has to either take the pawn or put c4 or push b5. And if any of these happen, you always are ready to play e4 to make sure that there are no avoidance against e4. So c4 does come in this position. c4 is the most common move. Other common move is just takes. But then after takes, your rook is now actually active. Now it's just not a dead rook. But after c4, many people might mistake by thinking playing the bishop here is a good move. It's not a bad move for sure that you're defending this pin piece, but I don't really feel comfortable with this bishop here because I feel like the rook's file is going to open after I play e4. I just want to put the bishop on f1, and later, if I have time, I can always play g3 and bishop g2. It feels like it's slightly weakening for this bishop, but it's actually not because even his own bishop is kind of stuck in the same problem. So it's all okay. But then most common move here is b5 with black. b5 a4 is the most common idea. I won't say it's a good idea because whenever this has been played by my opponent, I've had very comfortable positions. But still, many people play it, and people as black feel like it's okay when it's not. So I think as white, you should be fine if they play b5. You should actually be happy that now your position is extremely comfortable because after e4, you are immediately just after g3, bishop g2, you're immediately just being annoying to the rooks on the on the a file. So this position is slowly just making it easier for you to play on the queen side. But takes is a common move. Some people don't take, but then after not taking, you get e5, and then you ask, what is this knight going to do on d7? Like, what is the purpose? It can go here, can go here. Over here is not really achieving anything because after coming to a5, it has no threats to attack except this pawn. But I also have a5 threats, so there's nothing this knight is really doing. This knight is kind of just not able to justify its purpose. People might think you could play rook f2 and knight brak, but again, this knight is still dead here. You're only defending this pawn, which is already defended when you're here. So this knight starts to feel uncomfortable. And the other thing is now I have, after I get e4, excuse me. So I'll just play a random move, like queen d7. Sorry, not queen d7, that's just a bad move. Queen comes to e7, and I push, knight goes back. Now I start feeling comfortable because now black has no counterplay. This bishop is basically dead. And after I play h3, if takes, then I just play knight takes or pawn takes. I think knight takes are just clearly better. So usually people don't take. They try to put threats against my queen. Over here, my queen might look extremely passive, like on c1 or d1. Both are possible. But I feel like, how are you going to justify your bishop after I push this pawn? You can't push this because then I just take you with the bishop. Now it's your bishop who's going to get trapped. If I play any move trying to defend like a5, as a desperate attempt. After a5, the position just is extremely complicated because after knight comes back, again, I'm asking you to justify what is your bishop going to do here. It's just a very dead bishop, and my bishop just has free spaces. It can just come back over here, here, excuse me, here, and this bishop's extremely dead. So there's no purpose. So e4, most people take, knight takes, and then a4. A5. After a5, this is the most common move. But as black, you just don't need to worry because even if he does get the b4 push, you let him take, excuse me, I take, and now just a very solid structure with these two pawns here. They're not hanging pawns. You have the one who has the isolated pawns. And if you just try to expand too much by pushing this pawn here, I just take, and now this position is extremely comfortable for me. And I also have a passed c pawn after that move. And with all these moves, I feel like most people as black feel like they don't want to push because they feel like their position will start to collapse. But people also play b5. First, they try to defend their pawn by bringing the queen here to defend this pawn. You can leave your bishop on f1 too, just to hit that pawn. Some people don't. They feel like this idea is not good anymore, and they stop playing. That's when you play g3 when you realize that this position is not going anywhere. G3, simple idea of g for h3. If bishop goes back, you trap it. Bishop goes there again, you start trapping, and then you get into some nasty business with your queen. This position is extremely comfortable, I feel, as white. It looks like white has less space, but the piece position is just amazing. So this is it for today, and thank you for watching. And please like, share, subscribe. Tomorrow might be a game in this position I've played, or Puzzle Rush, I don't know. So yeah, please tell me how it goes if you've ever played this line. Thank you.